Hi everyone, it's craftytinas. Today's video is giving you a sneak peek of my next tutorial. This pretty little box was created using the Shadow Box punch board by We Are Memory Keepers. It is a sliding gift box with a matching pen inside. My next video is going to show you how to make this unusual size box along with the sleeve, and how to make three-dimensional paper flowers to dress your box up. This will be my next video, so make sure you subscribe so you can check it out. In the meantime, if you've seen my past videos, you know that we bought this board was new to my craft room, and we were looking at the instructions that only include making 5 different sizes, because that's all the instructions give you. This instructions for the box and the instructions for the sleeve, that is all the instructions you get, even on the paper insert that comes with this board. Now, this is the Works board. This is the We Are Memory Keepers, the Works. It's so that you can score and cut paper and do about 10 other things. But for making this item, you only need the Shadow Box and a scoring board. It does not have to be any specific one, just any scoring board. This is the next video. I'm going to show you how to make everything. But before we get to making more fun stuff, I want to let you know that I put on my Facebook page the craftytinas Shadow Box sheet. If you've seen my other videos, you know we have a spreadsheet for our cinch machine that allows us to know where to put the pegs for punching and where to put the slider to make sure that our pegs and holes are in the correct place, and how to use the cinch machine. So I had a cinch log that basically tells us all kinds of wonderful information about how to use it and how to set it up. Well, since this machine, punch board, it's not a machine, it's a punch board, it has a punch and it's a board. We Are Memory Keepers makes a lot of different punch boards, and they're all pretty good in my opinion. This one came very limited as far as telling you what it could do, but it is not limited. I was able to make a bunch of different size shadow boxes using more than just this. Now, I showed you in my last video on how to do the math to make all these different sizes, but I wanted to put it in a spreadsheet for the basic sizes so that you wouldn't have to figure it out. You could just print the sheet, grab it, and go for the shadow box. It is a really cool little board. It does make really sturdy little paper shadow boxes. And I know you can do this on your own with a scoring board and a cutter, but this makes for such an easier, simpler way to make these shadow boxes. And I plan on doing a lot of things with them, so I wanted to get the spreadsheet so that everybody could get used to their board and get more comfortable. And if you don't want to do the math, you can use the sheet, but the sheet is also going to tell you how to do the math, and I'm going to explain that. And that's the point of this video, is to explain this printout. It is on my Facebook page. You can download it in PDF version so that you can print it out and have it readily available. So we've already made some shadow box ornaments that were really cute, and they were 3 by 3. They don't need a slider on them. So now I have made this pen holder, made a slider for it. We are going to get around to trying out the hinge punches, but I'm just having so much fun I haven't gotten there yet. So let's talk about the sheet, and then I'm going to explain how you can do the math and use any size you want. Also, I don't want you to think this is all the rectangles you can do. That's why I also wanted to make sure that you understood the spreadsheet. It always starts out small, but as we go, we'll be adding more sizes. But you don't need to wait. You can add the sizes yourself. In this case, this is basically a mathematical equation, and you're basically just going to do the math to figure out what you want to do. Any shadow box you do with this board, it all depends on what your starting paper is. This is a 2 by 2, meaning 2 inches across on the outside and 1 inch on the inside. It is the smallest on both of these lists. I am going to attempt something smaller than that, probably not smaller than a 1.5. Whatever size cardstock you start out with is going to dictate what size shadow box you end up with. if you want a specific size shadow box, you're going to need to know what size cardstock to start with. In this case, the inside is a 1 by 1. It's a 1 inch by 1 inch. The outside is a 2 by 2. Going from 1 to 2, we're adding 1. So a 1 by 1 is going to be a 2 by 2. A 2 by 2 is going to be a 3 by 3. 3 by 3 is going to be a 4 by 4. That will never change. If I know what outside I want, I simply go to this column, the outside column, and in order to figure out the inside, I subtract 1 because I'm going in that direction. This is not greater than and less than. We're going to pretend those are arrows. If I'm going in that direction, I'm subtracting 1. So if it's a 2 by 2 on the outside, it's going to be a 1 by 1 on the inside. If it's a 6 by 6 on the outside, it's going to be a 5 by 5 on the inside. That is never going to change. You're going to either add or subtract 1. If you're going from here to here, it's add. If you're going from here to here, it's subtract. That is never going to change. So if you know what size the outside you want the outside to be, you can simply write it here and you'll know exactly what your inside is going to be before you even make it. Let's try one. What if I wanted this outside to be a 4.75 by 4.75? Very unusual number. I don't have it up here. I only have whole numbers and halves. But what if I wanted it to be a 4.75, which is 4 3/4? I wanted it for something specific, like to put inside of something. It's very easy to know how big that inside is going to be because all I do is subtract 1. I'm going that way. So it's a 3.75 by a 3.75. 1 inch comes off of both numbers because I'm going that direction. But what if I want to put something in here? So I need the inside to be a specific number. What if I want the inside to be a 2.75? Because my object needs the 2.75 to fit. Then I can put 2.75 by 2.75. I'm going to add 1 to both numbers and I'm going to get a 3.75 by 3.75. That's going to tell me how big the outside of my shadow box is going to be. Now, in order to punch either one of these that I've written down, the only thing this board knows is what size cardstock. Whatever size cardstock you start with is going to determine the shadow box. So I need to know what size piece of cardstock I have to start with. That means I'm adding 4 to each number. I'm going to go from here to here, which is the paper size. I need to give it a +4. So this is going to be an 8.75 by 8.75 cardstock. My paper side has to start at 8.75. This punch board does not understand anything else. It only understands your starting paper. For my 3.75, I'm adding 4. So it's an 7.75. I have to be able to add to help you guys, right? I know that I need to start with an 8.75 by an 8.75. This simply gives you a way to dictate how you want your shadow box. You can't change that this is a 1/2 inch and a 1/2 inch, but you can say, well, I want my inside to be a certain number. And because you're starting with that number, you will be able to do the math easily for the rest. Another example is, what if you have a piece of paper that you're just in love with and you want to make that into a shadow box? You don't care what size it is on the outside or the inside. This happens to be an 8 1/4 by 8 1/4, and it's like, oh, I really want to use this. I want to use the full page. I really want this to be my shadow box. I don't care what size it ends up. Then you can do the same exact concept and go backwards. What if I want this to be an 8.25 by an 8.25? When I'm going backwards, I subtract 4. So now this needs to be, the box will actually be a 4.25 by 4.25 on the outside. So what's my inside going to be? Simple, we're subtracting 1. So now it's going to be a 3.25 by a 3.25, and I cannot write reaching around this camera. Any way you put it, no matter what number you put in what column, you simply look above into the clear space. If I'm putting my number here, then I'm going that way, adding 4. But I'm going backwards this way, so I'm subtracting 1. So either way you go, you have the ability to make this box your choice, whatever size you want it to be. That is the simplest way I can explain it. But let's talk rectangles, because there's not a lot of options here, because you really don't have to have a lot of options over here. One of the rectangles I've done is a 4x6 on the inside, and that's because you could put a photo inside that's a 4x6. This tells me my outside is 5x7. But no matter what number you have here, you can, using this, figure it out for you or use the math. Let's pick one. What if I wanted it to be a 3x5 on the inside? Because I want to put 3x5 index cards inside this box. So I want my inside to be that. I can come over here to the 3 and know that the next number is a 4 and the next number is an 8. Then I go to the 5 and I know that it's a 6 and a 10. Or I can do the same thing over here that I did over here. 3 goes to 4, 5 goes to 6. I do the same thing. I'm adding 4 again. 4 goes to 8, 6 goes to 10. I know I can now do a shadow box with the inside being a 3x5 because I worked out the math. Once I have that 8x10 piece of cardstock, this punch board will make my shadow box exactly what I wanted. So you are not limited by the 4 sizes. You're only limited by your creativity. You can do any size you want, rectangle or square. When it comes to how big you can go, you cannot go bigger than an 8x8 on the outside because we don't have cardstock normally bigger than a 12x12. You do not want to make this with paper. It needs to be cardstock. You need the firmness. This is not glued down, by the way. You need the firmness for the cardstock. We have made all kinds of sizes. Really cute little sliders. This is an adorable size, guys, but this is 2.5, and I would not have been able to make that. This is a 2, this is the 2.5, and this is the 3. So I would have been limited to going either this size or this size. Well, this may be too small and this may be too big. That's why I have the 2.5 size. And even though you're doing your own thing, you can still make the sleeves to cover them. Like this is the 2.5, guys, and I made the sleeve to cover it. This is a 3x7 and I made the sleeve to cover it. And that will be in the tutorial for this particular one. This one's going to take a full tutorial on its own because I'm going to show you everything, including how to make the insert for the pin and how to make the flowers and make them 3-dimensional. So that's going to have to be a video on its own. I wanted to explain, because I just uploaded it to my Facebook page, I really wanted to explain the actual spreadsheet on working out your numbers. Because this is a really, really cute box. This is the 3-inch, which we made our ornaments with. But the 2.5-inch is perfect if you do buttons from the button press. Look at that. In a bigger one, this is the 3-inch. This would not have looked as good. But this is more custom. This is the medium size circle. This is the square. It fits in there really cute, guys. We're going to be making more buttons just so that we can put them in our little shadow boxes. We're also going to be doing more three-dimensional flowers. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to introduce those. And I'm struggling here, but it's not that difficult. So make sure that your paper starts exactly how you're going to want your shadow box to be sized, because unlike a cutter or scoring board, that is not what determines the size of your shadow box. What determines the size of that shadow box is the 6x6. And the reason why is this box doesn't know any different. It doesn't know any better. You're simply scoring it and punching it. The scores are in the same place no matter what size paper you have, and the punch is in the same place no matter what size your paper is. You have unlimited possibilities because this scoring board has 4 lines over here, and that is all. Where this one has unlimited, this has 4, but they are spaced out properly for what the actual shadow box needs, and that is the 1/2 inch trim all the way around it. Now, I'm assuming you can make any size shadow box you want with this type of scoring board, but you cannot have this little fancy punch. I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is specific to the 1/2 inch. You see how the first 1/2 inch has an angle, the next 1/2 inch has a straight, then another angle, and then a straight. This provides you the shape for the corner of the shadow box. So you can't use this punch for a shadow box that is thicker than the 1/2 inch. You need this punch to line up with your 1/2 inch lines. And that's what this punch does. It's super easy. It's a 1 punch slide and a 1 punch. And then you specifically have a nice little square that is a 1/2 inch thick and a 1/2 inch wide. And if you have that on both sides, you have 1 inch. And that is how you get your border for your shadow box. So I hope this is providing you with some information that you can use, either because you already have this or if you're considering buying it. It hasn't been available for a while, but I'm starting to see it. I'm seeing it on eBay and Michael's right now. I have not seen it on Amazon. But it is a very simple board to use, and now that we don't have limits, we are really, really flexible, just like on the cinch when making our notebooks. We now have the ability to do more than just 4 sizes. So guys, I hope you liked the video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you come and check out my Facebook page as well, because there are other printouts for use. This is going to be the next video. It will be launching this week, so make sure you are a subscriber so you get notified, so you too can make this nice gift. We're still in Christmas in July, and this would make an excellent gift. Thanks guys for watching, and as always, happy crafting.